Eyes down for the morning folks, or should I say late afternoon. It's 4:40. I've been involved with lots of little jobs today, including forgetting my camera, which meant going back to Driffield for it. But I had lots of jobs to do for the father-in-law, picking up some metal he's given me, which in the fullness it's actually quite nice. It's aluminium. It's very lightweight, but it's an old garage door, and I'm going to use it for making a new front for the compressor shed.
Hey up.
Ah, there you are.
You want a Yanglit trailer?
Yeah.
I had arms full of stuff going
out. Right.
And I just...
So as I was saying before Michael arrived, one of my subscribers is Gardentractorboy, and we watch each other's channels every week, and he suggested to me they've had a problem like this before, and they cured it by doing what was bouncing around in the back of my mind, and that's putting a guide there and a guide there, so that when the belt is tight it doesn't touch the guides. But when the belt goes loose, it stops the belt trying to retain its round shape again, holds it like that and loosens it on the pulley. So I'm going to try that, and I'm pretty sure that's going to work. So there you go. But apart from that, all I've been doing today is cutting firewood up and sorting out all this metal that he's given me, which is all angle iron, which is all useful, which is all now plasma cut and cleaned up and put in straight lengths and put in the metal rack. So I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye now. Morning folks, or should I say lunchtime folks. Tuesday. After a massive amount of garden pruning, filling a blue builder's bag, taking it to the CA site, going to Mould to buy compost and farmyard manure, stacking it all in the backyard, I finally got here. But look, it's a belt guide. It's a belt guide. It won't, I don't want it to rub on there. I want it to be just below there when it's in the running position. And over here I've already fabricated a nice bent piece of metal which is going to support it, and I'm now going to rapidor it off there, tack weld it up, and then we'll see about clamping it in place with a pair of mole grips, and then fabricating another one for the top. So it's on to the rapidor. Gratuitous rapidor cone. I don't always use this. Sometimes I do it by hand, but if I want a straight edge I use this. There she goes folks. Oh, auto stop. Right, there's number one, mocked up and fitted. And I think I can show you that when the belt is tight, it's not touching the guide. But when it slackens off, it touches the guide immediately. So that should work. And now, one for the top, which should take us to there. I think this is going to work. Brilliant idea. Brilliant idea. Good old garden tractor boy. And Dad, of course. And there it is, folks. Mocked up. G-clamped on. And look at that. Completely clear. Completely driving. And clear of the guides. Can you see through there? Yes, you can. Completely clear. That to me is a result. Good result. Well, I've just been wandering around the workshop wondering what this weird noise was. And it was my test meter on here. Flattening its battery. Right. Result, folks. No drive. Drive. No drive. Put a brake on there, and that'll work. And it also works. This is the smaller of the two belts, and it also works the same on the small pulley. So we've got a result there. Good result. Right, folks, I'm happy with that. That can be set. I can have a nut and bolt straight through there, which can be clamped up and adjusted to a slot. Same up there, we can set that. So the next thing to sort out is the lever to move the motor back into gear. I've also sussed out a brake. If I take a piece of steel off there with a piece of tube on the end, we can have a piece of round bar sliding through it with a wedge on the end with a piece of V-belt on it and a spring, and that can go behind there, and as that moves back it'll pull the brake off, which is exactly what I want. So that's sorted in my mind. But I want to get leverage enough on this to make it go back easily. I want to have the handle in a position where you don't have to reach over a revolving chuck to get to it. So it wants to be up here somewhere, really, away from the chuck. And also I want to make it so that it latches in the on position, but just hitting it with your hand means it jumps back into the off position. That in itself is not hard. That's easy. It's just getting sufficient leverage on it, and the first thing you think of is a piece of steel straight down here. Drill a big hole in it like that, take it straight over there, and then you've got it. And that's maybe where I'll start. But I'm also thinking of something in here, like an eccentric cam to turn to force it backwards. It's a bit cramped for that, perhaps. I could, of course, put the mechanism at the other side. And then take a shaft through that way to operate it. I don't know. It's one of Sherlock Holmes's 2-pipe problems, or maybe even a 3-pipe problem. The problem is I stopped smoking years ago. I better have a cup of tea. Right, folks, working some further on pulley alignment. I've now got this tube in a position where when that moves to touch there, the large pulley is in alignment, and I've cut a spacer 836 so that when it stops there, the small pulley's in alignment. So that's the travel set. So I can now put a tack weld on the tube there and a tack weld on the tube there, and we're changing position between the two pulley positions. I'm working this out bit by bit as I think about how to move this motor back, and I've sort of come to an idea that if I have a piece that comes down there and then I have another piece that pivots here and pushes that over. I'm doubling the leverage. We obviously need to gain as much mechanical advantage over pushing this back as we can, so that it pushes back easily on the handle, so that we can put a latch that will release as soon as you touch it. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. So I've got that in position now, so I can put a couple of tacks on there, and then we can advance a tech level again, I hope. Right folks, I've had a cogitate, I've had a cup of tea, and this is what I've come up with. Piece of steel fastened onto the motor plate there. Another pivot here with a piece of tube welded offset to the pivot, so that when you rotate the pivot, the piece of tube acts like a cam and pushes that way and tensions the motor. Right? You'll see what I mean when I build it, because I'm going to build it and see if it works. Right? This may be a high-inch nothing, but I think it'll work. Right? As it rotates, with the pin being welded to one side of the tube becomes like a cam, and as it rotates it pushes, and it will push against that piece of steel, pivot it out, so the handle will be up here, and as you pull it down to that position, it will push that and tension the belt. As soon as you flick it up, because it's a cam, the lever will jump up and it'll stop. In theory. However, another thing I've got. Very simple jockey pulley. This is an old pulley off a car timing chain, right? If I put that in there, in the belt run, on high speed it doesn't make any difference, but on low speed I can hook the belt round it, which reduces the amount of movement that I need to tension the belt when it's on the low speed setting. Right? So I can use the same belt, just by changing the run of it I can make it work much more efficiently. But that's just, I mean, I've got a huge pile of jockey pulleys just over here, including the twist one from a garden tractor, which is for the drive. But that's what I've come up with so far. Jockey pulley for the low gear, and a camshaft set up there to push that over, and we need about 1.5 inches movement to go from no drive to drive. We need 1.5 inches movement up there, but on the low speed we need 3 inches of movement up there. So if I could do something to reduce the amount of movement needed up there, so that both of them were 1.5 inches, then this lever would work the same way in both speeds. And I think the thing to do is to fit a jockey pulley, to hook the belt round a jockey pulley for the low speed. If that makes any sense. It'll probably make a lot more sense when I build it. Or it might not even work, but there you go. Anyway folks, 4:48, time has beaten me again. I've done too much tea drinking and too much cogitating and not enough welding. But we have gone a bit further. I'll see you all tomorrow. Afternoon folks, just back from the poo run, and I've got this set up as a lever to operate. Now I will need to take these bolts out again and just put a couple of little spaces behind there, just so that this clears the box section when I'm shifted over into the low speed position. But other than that, we seem to be doing okay. I'm just setting the welder up here so I can also now tack that tube in place, because I've now got that spacer in and that gives us the stop for the high speed and the stop for the low speed. So that's all ready to go and be tacked into position now, so I'm going to get these welded up and then see how this operates. Of course, the longer the lever, the more leverage you've got, but the more it travels. So let's get it tacked up and see. It might not work, but let's not wonder how to do it. Let's get started and wonder how we did it. Right folks, that's that on and working really well. I will put I'll need to space these off just a little bit so that it doesn't catch on the box section when it's in low gear. But I've just spent the last hour or hour and a half probably searching the workshop for something that I know I have, or at least had a very short time ago, and I'm wondering if I may as well have well thrown it out in final exasperation. What I had was part of an Alfbecker hand control, which was two pieces of steel bolted together with a beautiful plastic straight handle on the end, which would have been ideal to be just here and operate this. But I've found all sorts. I've found something here which is the inside of an old DA sander, and that, with a piece of metal welded there, or a piece of metal welded there, would become a cam that would rotate and push that into the drive position. But I cannot find this bloody handle anywhere. And yet I know, I'm pretty sure I've got it somewhere. I don't think I would have thrown it out. Never mind. Onward. Let's get on with it. Well, there you go folks, that's the progress for today. Not very much. Some days you wonder if it was worth getting out of bed. And other days you get so much done. You can't believe it. But we've got that far anyway. You have to make do with that. And what's more, tomorrow I'm not here because I have the very unpleasant task of going to an old mate's funeral. So I'll see you all on Friday. Bye now. Morning folks. Friday. Bit of mist on the hills. But in here it's bright, and I'm just making myself a cup of tea. Right, the creative juices are flowing again, and what we have here is a pivot with a piece of round bar inside it with a split pin through that end, and on this end I'm about to weld a piece of square tube so that when you rotate said square tube it moves that into that position, which locks the pulley. So it wants welding into the corner of there, and then we can adjust this pivot to a sweet spot so that we get against the stop. In fact, it looks like I'm about there, against the stop there, with no pressure on the piece of box section, but with it rotated, it will rotate through 90 degrees. So it wants to stop about there. So it's going to be somewhere like that, isn't it? I don't know. This might work, this might not. But at the moment we're experimenting. I think that will work. It is going to have to move through 90 degrees though. Perhaps we could do with, I don't know, let's just put this on and see if it works. You see, you have a bar on like that, a handle, it's going to have to rotate to there, which is too far. So if you have a bar one like that, you have to reach right across the lathe to get to it. Now that will be the on position, and that will be the off position. I don't know. Let's just tack it on. Let's just tack it on and see if that's going to work. If not, obviously we need a much steeper cam. But can you get steeper than 90 degrees? I'm beginning to get a headache. I think it's time for a cup of tea. There we are, folks. Still hot. But basically that's it in the drive position. And as it rotates, it drops out into the idle position. The only problem is that we've got 90 degrees of movement here. And the only thing I can think we can do is to use another lever system to reduce the amount of movement. I don't know. Gears. I haven't got any. But there you go. That's it. It works. It works. And that's holding it nicely in the drive position. So I think we could bolt that straight. I was thinking maybe of having a sliding system here with spring loaded, but it doesn't need it. That works very well in gear and out of gear. That's plenty of wrap there. That'll drive. Of course, how would we adjust it? How could we adjust it? That's a point. That's a point. How could we adjust it? Yeah, there's all sorts of ways. We could put an adjuster through there, pushing a plate, and have a bolt out the back to adjust it. Yeah, we can adjust it. Right, we've advanced to tech level. I'm just going back now to just set this, redo this stop here so that it doesn't foul on that pivot, so that the actual channel is spaced upwards a bit, so that the bolt hole can go lower down. Right, and I'll get that done, and I'll get the holes drilled to adjust those with, and then we can start consolidating what we've already done that we know works. Right, let's crack on. Right, I'm just tacking this up, and really enjoying the fact I can see through the bloody welding helmet. God, it's amazing. Amazing. So neat. Right, clamp off. Reverse. Wow! Hot. Clamp on. Off we go. There they are. There they are. Gloves is better. Beautiful. Job jobbed. Right. And now we'll put that back on. Can you see that there? It just gives us a bit of clearance before that pivot. So I better set this up. I'll set it up with a pair of mould grips and then bring it back and weld it. Otherwise we'll get it wrong, won't we? Very little point in having a milling machine if you're not going to use it to mill slots with. Day of the round file instead. That's better. There we are. Lovely slot. Lovely slot. There we go, folks. Can you see that? Sorted. Right. Zooms back. That's one of those fitted. That's the top guide on. I've marked for the bottom guide. I'm just about to mill the slot in it, and then I'm going to drill this again with the cordless drill. And it's just, you know, ridiculous to strip it all down, just drill a couple of holes. Get that one fitted, and then we're catching our tail up. We're getting the backlog of stuff fixed. But that's looking good. I like the way it's going. I'm not quite sure that this is going to be okay yet, but it seems to be good. It seems to be good. Right, I'll get that slot milled. I'll set you up on the tripod and we'll get back. go, folks. Job. Yep. That one is done. Right, folks. There's a chap just leaving. He's been to see me, buy some kit, and we've been talking about engineering, and here presto it's nearly 5 o'clock. So that's it for this week. I finished milling that second belt guide. I've got to drill the hole where the mark is, so that'll be what I crack on with on Monday. So thank you all for watching. Thank you for the likes and the comments. Keep them coming. I try to answer every comment and give people some feedback. So give me a thumbs up, give me a like. Thanks to all the new subscribers. Welcome aboard, people. And I hope you enjoy next week's video. Bye now.